All right, so introduction to content marketing. What to expect in this session. We'll talk about what content marketing is, the definition, explanation, would relate that to everyday examples. We'd also talk about the importance of content marketing. Why should we even do this in the first place? What are the benefits of content marketing? What are the key tools and that we need, right? That would make use of in content marketing. How to know if content marketing is for you, why you should take on content marketing as your career path, the best place to learn content marketing. And then we have a discussion session. I mean, we're going to be discussing all through, but then this would not be based on my slides. So here we will talk about what content marketing looks like in an early stage startup and a day in the life of a content marketing professional. So this is where I said we will touch on what Omalade's expectations are. Okay, so let's get into it. What is content marketing? It's a strategic approach focused on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately keyword. There are several keywords in this definition that I want us to take note of. Strategic, that's a major keyword. Strategic marketing approach. Marketing, another keyword. Focused on creating and distributing valuable content. So I'm going to bunch creating and distributing together as one keyword. Then we have valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract, which is what Anita and Flourish said, and retain a clearly defined audience, and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. Now, I'm going to break this down. When we say strategic, it means you're not just running around like a headless chicken. No, strategic, you know what you want to do. What you want to do is tied to something, is tied to a product, is tied to a goal for the product. It's not vanity metrics. It is clearly outlined and defined. And so everything you do, every content that you create has to align with that universal goal. So it has to be strategic. You can't just say, oh, let's do a video today, or let's do a graphics post tomorrow. And why are you doing what you're doing? Marketing, creating awareness, talking about your product, letting people know about your products, what you offer, how it can help them. And it's focused on creating and distributing. So for a lot of content marketers focus on the creating side of things and forget about distribution. But the gag is, how will your consumers find you if you don't take distribution seriously? How will they find you? You've created content, it's beautiful, you've crafted your storytelling for your product in such a masterpiece kind of way, that when your consumers come in contact with the product or with the content, they're going to be sold. So you've created it, but it's just there. Who's going to listen to your podcast? Who's going to listen to what you've recorded if you don't host it on a podcast site? Who's going to watch your video if you don't put it on YouTube? Who's going to see your carousels if you don't post them? Where do you want to post them? This is where distribution comes in. So content marketing is not just about creating content, which is where a lot of us are, just focused on. And yes, I'm creating content. How are you distributing it? How are you distributing it? I'm going to add one more to say measurement. After you've distributed, are you measuring the content you've created? Is it doing what it's meant to do? Simple and short. Is your content doing what it's meant to do? And you can't know that if you don't have a strategy tied to a goal. Your strategy will dictate the kind of content you create, to dictate where you put the content. It will dictate how your content is crafted for different types of audiences. Because even though you have a target audience, your target audience can be further segmented. And then it says relevant, valuable, and relevant. So you're not, again, strategic. You know what you're doing. You're not just creating content because, oh, I love to write emails. All right. Let's move on. So what qualifies as content marketing? You see so many things out there. What qualifies as content marketing? Is it every kind of content that qualifies as content marketing? So number one, we have it engages individuals on their own terms, using buyer personas. Like I said, your buyer persona will let you know who your target audience is, to let you know how to talk to them, to the nitty-gritty. I was talking about Ore, the female student in uni in 100 level. We can even break it down to the fact that Ore likes to read at night. She doesn't like to read during the day. Ore is a night reader. So if Treford wants to do some offline marketing for a training, they can say, you know what, because we know our ideal buyer persona, Ore likes to go reading at night. And Ore is in OAU. Well, that's where I graduated from. And Ore is in OAU. So people go to ODLT. It's one of our lecture rooms to read at night. So that means Ore is going to come to ODLT at night to read. So they post a poster there, right? Or maybe at exactly once it's night time, they come to do some activation, because they know that at exactly that period, Ore will be there. Their target audience, the buyer persona that they've created, helps them know where to talk to Ore, where to find Ore. So your content marketing has to engage your consumers on their own terms, not on your own terms. It's not about, I want my brand to be a media company, so let's do podcasts, let's do YouTube shows. Very, very tantalizing ideas, lofty ideas. But your target audience, do they like to listen to audio before you go and start a podcast? Secondly, it's based on interactions buyers have with your brand and mapped directly to their buying stages. I mentioned earlier, I said different types of content to attract, different types of content to convert, different types of content to retain people. So when you create a piece of content, ask yourself, what is this thing meant to do for my consumers in relation to my products? It's giving information to my consumers, great and fine, but giving them information for what? To do what? Information for them to learn more. So you have a CTA that says learn more, or information for them to pay. So in your buying stage, you have, when they come in as strangers, then they meet your product. So they are visitors, acquaintances. So in that stage, you're delighting them. It's just like a guy that's toasting a babe. In that beginning stage, he's going to go all out for the babe. Why? Because he wants to convert her. And that is basically what happens with marketing, and especially content marketing. At the initial stage of them meeting your product, you have to delight. Your delight has to be top-notch. Be delightful, give them all the valuable help they need. In fact, sometimes you don't necessarily have to put your product in their face, but just give them the help they need. If I'm looking, school is resuming, so children are going back to school. You find a lot of parents online Googling, oh, where can I buy school bags? Where can I buy stationery? Where can I order uniforms? Blah, 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 blah. And let's say somebody goes on Google and searches, and you as a content marketer, you have a blog post about back to school tips for parents. You've not talked about your products. You just said back to school tips for parents. You've talked, you have your introduction, and then you have your listicle. Okay, do this, set your schedule back, like start your school schedule 2 weeks before school resumes, go shopping with your child, take inventory of what you have before you go shopping. And then somewhere in there, you plug your products. When they're searching on Google, they will come across the blog post. They are looking for something that your blog post has given them a solution to. And while they are going through the solution, they come across your product. You've made an impact. Now, what consistency helps you is that the more you write about things like this around a niche, the more you write, the more people start looking to you as an authority in that field. So when it's time for back to school or anything that has to do with school, they just think that there's this brand though that I usually see them, there they even go to look for you themselves, because you mapped your content to their buying stage. So you've given them content to attract them, to create awareness for your product, to help them. Then you now start, sending them, nudging them. Okay, what about you try, sign up for a free trial, a demo session. That's another content, or a webinar, a free webinar that takes them, that does a walkthrough of your products. Because some people, they like to see, and this is particularly great for B2B, for B2B marketing, because you're marketing to corporations, startups, larger bodies, enterprises. So it's not on their own, they see your email and they sign up. They want to know if the millions of dollars they're going to give your software or whatever is worth it. So you can host webinars, product walkthrough webinars, or calls. In your first, your onboarding email, you can add an option to call them to say, can you schedule a call with us? We'll call you for a demo. You're trying to convert them, to move them further down the funnel, the buying stage. And maybe luckily they sign up with you. Great. But then do you just forget about them because they've signed up, because they've given you their money? No. This is where retention kicks in. You keep delighting them, keep sending them nudges, push notifications, emails, be it weekly emails about your product or something related to your product that also is helpful. The thing is, if you don't do it right, you can turn people off, because if they keep seeing emails from you and all you talk about is my product, they'll get tuned off. Talk about your product, talk about how it is valuable to them. Or start with some other issue that you think, another pain points that you think they might be experiencing. Start from that angle, talk about it, empathize with them. Then slotting your product from the value points. Okay. Retain them, retention. And then if your service is a subscription-based service, you also realize that when their subscription ends, you also have to do another work to try to get them to resubscribe. Because a lot of times you have initial subscriptions with people who don't renew their subscriptions. So your retention comes into play there as well. And then for those who stopped using you for maybe 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, at Eyowo, we do 2 weeks, every 15 days. Our cycle is 15 days. If we've not seen you for 15 days, we send you a nudge. Hey there, we missed you, check us out. Since you stopped using us, this was what you've missed. So we do free transfers. So hey there, in the last 15 days you stopped using us, it means that you've been sending money with charges. We can even go further and help you calculate what that would look like. So I don't know how much do people charge these banks charge these days, say 15 naira or 30 naira. So 30, let's say you do on average 1 transfer per day. That's 30 naira times 15. How much is that? That's how much you've lost. And with AOO, if you come back to using us, you can save that money, put it in a savings. That's a different type of content to get people to come back. Right? So let's move on. It tells a continuous story with a unified narrative that evolves throughout a customer's journey. So all this all this content you're creating across the different stages, they have to be unified. You have to tell a story. This is where your storytelling comes in. It has to be connected. And how I say it, you're designing an architecture, a storytelling architecture. Because there's a top, the beginning, middle, end. And even in the middle of these 3 points, there are sub-points, sub-touch points. Everything has to be connected. Your users don't have to feel like, what's happening here? If maybe I just stumbled on your blog post and you're already telling me to drop money. The next one says, if it's the right fit for your channel, whether it's being used on your website, email, social, or elsewhere. Back to being strategic. Back to being what? Strategic. The content you've created, where you've put it, where you've distributed it, is that the right fit for the channel? So LinkedIn, what are the kind of contents you can put on LinkedIn? What are the kind of people that come to LinkedIn? What kind of platform is LinkedIn? Yes, LinkedIn is almost like Instagram. You can post pictures, you can post this, you can even put articles on LinkedIn. But who are the type of people that come to LinkedIn? Are you putting your video? Is it a pidgin kind of content? You know, or it's not really thought leadership, it's just basic vibes. Do you think that would be the right fit for LinkedIn? A lot of people come to LinkedIn for thought leadership kind of articles, updates about their professional lives, career. So, you know, it's a pretty serious platform. If you're going to do something fun and vibey, it has to be strategic. There has to be a reason, right? Another one says, your content, what qualifies? It has to have a clear purpose and a clear call to action for your audience to follow. Again, what is your goal? Your goal is to attract. Okay, attract customers to do what? To pay you. So that means if you're going to create a design, a content structure from attracting to payment, there are different call to actions you have to put there to move your customers because you want them to take an action, right? So they found you. A CTA could look like learn more. Maybe they found you through a YouTube ad. When they click on your YouTube ad, where does it take them? The website. Clear call to action. When you say get started, what does that mean? Get started itself can be very ambiguous. I only use get started when I know that my copy has been really clear. So from reading the copy of my email or my ads, they already know that when I say get started means like, you know, begin now or sign up now. So if I'm talking about a discount, so or get 10% discount off the new iPhone 14, blah, 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 when you pay with a AOO card, right? And I say get started. That is very clear that the get started is, you know what, get started to get in the discounts. If I'm going to put get discount, then that means when they click on that get discount call to action, it had better take them to the payments page where they can put in their details and get the discount. But if you put get discount and you take them to a page on your website that now has more information, it throws them off. Because I clicked on it with the hopes of getting discounts. At that point, it's like false advertising. So your event flow has to be connected. And your job as a growth person, because content marketing is growth, your job as a growth person is to remove every unnecessary touch point for your users that can make them drop off. So if you're saying get discounts, when they click on it, payment page straight, not get discounts and you're taking them to the homepage on your website and they're wondering, okay, what am I supposed to do next? Okay. It has predefined metrics designed to be measurable. Predefined metrics. Like I said, we'll talk about that in the course of the class. Predefined metrics. What are your goals? How do you know what you're doing is working? What do you want to look out for? What matters to you? Now, not all metrics matter to every brand, and not even all metrics apply to every product. Okay. For some people, sign up starts on their websites. So everything they're doing, they're driving people to the website. For some people, it's app downloads. So whatever they're doing, they're driving people to Google Play Store, Apple App Store. So metrics differ, right? And then it is created in the most efficient and effective way possible without sacrificing quality. You're effective, you're efficient, but your quality is still top-notch. So you still have to find a way to make sure that, yes, even though, the startup culture, everybody, good, let's just go, let's move, speed. You still have to find a way to make sure that your quality is not compromised. So how important is content marketing? What are the benefits? Is it necessary, or is this something that, we're just developing again? Is this something we've been doing before, and now we're just, slapping a label on it to say, what, content marketing? Is it even necessary? Why go through all the stress to create content in the first place? Here are 3 key benefits of content marketing that talks about the importance of it. It helps you build awareness for your brand. Your audience can't buy from you if they can't find you. And up to 93% of buying cycles start with a search online. How many of you have, gone to Google to search for something, and, you've sort of figured out where to buy it? So if Google is too far, Instagram. And I'm going to use Instagram as an example, because I think these social platforms are fast becoming like Google search engine. People use them like Google these days. I go on Instagram to look for stuff I want to buy. So I stay in Abuja. If I wanted to buy, I wanted to order bowls of soup some weeks ago, right? And all I did was I just went on Instagram, searched catering, I put location Abuja, and I went through all the options. Sometimes I check through hashtags, or sometimes Instagram will just recommend based on your keywords. So 93% starts with a search online, be it on social platforms or Google or wherever, or YouTube. I was looking to buy new skincare products, and I sort of knew, I had an idea of the type of products I wanted, but I wasn't sure. So I went on Google to search for reviews. So the ordinary toner versus XYZ toner. All I was doing was just looking for reviews. And in looking for reviews, I stumbled on a page that sells, but they also write about it. And I bought from them. I wasn't looking for where to buy. I was looking for more information on the product so I can make my decision on which one to settle for. And I bought. Awareness. Awareness can come in different forms. Traditional marketing awareness would have gone with, maybe billboards, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, we still do a bit of that in growth marketing, right? Radio, or even just ads, do you get? And that's it. So, this is us, this is us, this is us. But through content marketing, it's like you use corner to go catch your audience. You're being diplomatic about it, sort of, right? So it helps you build awareness. And even if I didn't want to buy in that instance, there are several pages that I went through before I settled with the one that I bought from. And even though I didn't buy from those other pages, there's one that is still in my mind. And also because I've seen the person's name, the lady's name on Twitter a couple of times. So when I stumbled on her blog, I was like, oh, okay, this lady I see on Twitter. She reviews products, skincare products. But it's in my mind. That's awareness. I'm not even buying yet. I'm not engaging with any other thing that she has to sell. But I know that, okay, she has a skincare blog post. So if I need help in the future, or ideas or something, I know that I can always go back there. That's awareness. Secondly, it creates preference for your brand. From this picture, I want someone to step up to sort of analyze what's happening in this picture and what would likely contribute to this guy right here making a choice between the two bottles of juices he's holding. Okay, thank you so much, Yakubu. You mentioned something very important. I mean, everything you said is important, but there was one that really jumped out at me, where you said maybe you've used it before, right? Yeah. So if we go by that, Kim, I will get to you. If we go by that, it meant that this person came to the supermarket with the goal of going for the brand that they're used to. That's what they came to buy, right?
Right.
That's what they came to buy. But then on getting to the aisle, he sees another product that is strong enough to catch his attention. And not just catch his attention, but catch his attention enough for him to take it off the shelf.
Right.
And then compare with the one he actually came to get.
Yeah.
Now, in that instance, the one he's used to obviously has a higher percentage of chances of being chosen. There's a bias because tried and tested and trusted, right? But then what would then be the thing that would make him want to, try this new one? And if it could be, that could find expression in maybe the packaging. Some people are the packaging of your product alone can sell your product.
True.
Right?
Right.
Exactly. You can create preference through packaging. Some people will say it's vanity. Okay, cool. But is it doing the job? Yes. The problem then comes if, you have this beautiful packaging, but your product is shit. Excuse my French, your product is trash. Then people will not come back.
All right.
Exactly. So in this instance, it could be the packaging and be like, oh, okay, this looks really nice. Or what if the guy was buying for his female friend or maybe his girlfriend, and he sees, oh, the bottle is pretty. It seems like something she would like. So maybe he would end up taking both products, the one he's used to and this new one, so, let me play it safe. Or he would say, you know what, I'm an adventure buyer, so let me go with this new one I just discovered. Hopefully it matches my expectations. And if luckily the product matches expectations, the person would return.
Definitely.
It could then be that while he's comparing, he discovers that clearly here, one is The orange of one is more reddish. The orange color of one is tending towards yellow. So maybe, I don't know, maybe one is orange flavored and maybe the other is peach. And the one he's used to is only orange they do. But he's been craving peach. Or maybe he has a pregnant wife who has a specific craving, peach. And then he says, oh, it's a no-brainer. He would go for that. And this is where competitive analysis comes in. When you're launching your product, have you done your competitive analysis? What are your competitors doing? What is their USP? How do you stand out from the noise, from the crowd? So you're a juice company, everybody's doing orange juice, orange juice. Maybe you want to do kiwi to stand out. Now, if you're doing kiwi to stand out, I hope you're not just doing the kiwi to stand out for standing out's sake. I hope you do have an audience for kiwi. Right? So you can create preference for your brand in so many ways. And with content marketing,
pick it on the shelf. So I think that's just what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Kima. You're really, really spot on. You are very spot on. I loved when you mentioned the decision stage. And every consumer that comes in contact with your brand gets to that point where they say, you know what? I'm considering AOO versus VFD. Who should I open an account with? I'm considering MTN versus Airtel. Decision stage. Or maybe it's not even a comparison. Maybe it's, I want to pay for Airtel data. What does it offer me? Okay, this is what it offers me. Can I get a different kind of offering from MTN? Is it faster speed? Will it last longer? Or maybe MTN does not, their own Wi-Fi, I can't carry it around. It's not mobile friendly. So I'll go for Airtel. But how do people know that? Content marketing helps people do that, helps people know that rather. So yes, I said content marketing, right? So if this was a digital product, right? What this guy is doing, let's say this was a digital product and the person is comparing brands. And with content marketing, you've written a blog post about the various ways to use Nully juice or whatever, your own brand of juice, like how, they can use it for, maybe it's even have some health benefits. They can use it to do XYZ. You've written a complete guide to that. And the other brand, that this person that is trusted and they've tried them, they don't really have, a lot of that. And we run the risk of neglecting our lifelong consumers, right? So they now see this other brand that is delighting them with, check us out, this guide will help you do this, will help you do that. You've created preference. Or maybe this other brand wrote a thought leadership article about oranges and the health benefits of oranges or the seeds, right? So they're always trying out something. So in your mind, you know that, okay, you know what, when I need help with this thing, when it comes to organic food, I would go to brand B because they would have an answer to my problem. So when it comes to when you want to now pay, it's a no-brainer, the brand that you go for. Content marketing helps you build preference. It also helps you reach more businesses and customers at lower cost. Content marketing is a long-term game. So a lot of founders and CEOs don't really like to pump money into that or even take it serious because it's not giving them like direct conversions, immediate conversions at the moment. Everybody just want to be seeing downloads. But the thing is, when content marketing pays off, the rewards are immense. The rewards are immense. When it pays off, the rewards are immense and you spend lesser. Because people are finding you on their own terms. And you are creating value. So you spend less amount of money. Engaging content Engaging content marketing is part of a natural conversation that is relevant to your customers' interests and a continuous story over time. Engaging content marketing, natural conversation. That's the essence of content. Like, what content marketing are you doing if it's not natural, if it's not easy, if it's not diplomatic? Natural conversation. Your consumers are humans. Be humane with your language, with your tone, with your brand voice. When you're tweeting, you know, I'm sure we've seen a couple of times where brands have interacted. I think sometime last year, there was a time when fintech brands, especially the ones who do savings, did some banter on Twitter, right? You know, they say, oh, no, not us, we hand it over to Piggyverse. Then Piggyverse comes and say, oh, no, not us, we hand it over to Cowrywise. Do you get? That was really fun to see, because most times we just see brands as these entities. But it has to be natural, part of a natural conversation. Talk to people like you know them one-on-one. Your buyer personas are there for a reason. It is relevant to your customers' interests, what you want to say about your product, but that has to align with what your customers want to hear. If you're talking about free transfers, do your customers want to hear about free transfers? Is that their problem? Because to some people, the 15 naira is not a problem, because maybe they only make transfers once in a blue moon, or I don't know, not as frequently. But for businesses, for example, people at Computer Village, right? That would mean a lot more to them, because by the time you multiply the 15 naira times the volume of transactions they make in a day at the market, that's a lot of money. So to people like that, they would, of course, want to hear about your free transfers. For some people, savings, your push, you have to find a balance between your push content, what you want to say about your brand, about your product, and link it with what your customers want to hear, their interests, their pain points. That's their pull content, which also includes where you can find them. When you find that balance, that sweet spot, then you're good to go. All right, so I'm just going to explain what the activity would be. So there's the brand called bottled.ng. What bottled.ng does, basically, they create different kinds of bottles, glasses, drinking apparels for different purposes, and they have different products to serve these different purposes, right? So when you look at the screen on your left, the first one on your left, that's a wine decanter, right? So instead of pouring your wine from the bottle straight into people's glasses, you know, you can empty your wine in here. It makes it easier for you to pour for your guests, or, you know, just on your coffee table or dining table, wherever. Then to the right of it, you have another decanter, but this one is for whiskey, right? I'm sure you've seen this type of bottles maybe on TV around you. You know, this is for whiskey and the likes. And then below that, you have this lovely looking bong looking like bottles, right? Now you can see that these ones are more party centric, party oriented, fancy stuff that you can use at bars or after parties and things like that. Then on the left of that, you have the classic wine glasses. So bottle.ng makes, these are different offerings from bottle.ng, right? So what you're supposed to do is you create a copy, a social media copy for your picture, like whatever picture you get, whatever type of bottle you get, you create a social media copy and a social media caption for it, selling that products. You're essentially supposed to talk about products. So bottle.ng, they have these different products for different use cases, right? So your job as a content marketer right now is, let's just all put on our content marketer hats, right? So we're all content marketers right now. Your job as a content marketer, with this brief that you're getting, is to create a social media copy, creating awareness for that product. And you can create your awareness. I'm not going to dictate how you want to create the awareness or what you want to talk about the product to create awareness, but your brief is create awareness for these products with the social media copy and a caption. So the copy is maybe what's going to be on the post or whatever. Either if you say, oh, you want to do a video post, what's the copy? If it's graphics, what's the copy? If it's carousels, what's the copy? And then the caption, to back that up. That's what, that's the brief. So key tools and metrics for content marketing. So far we've discussed what content marketing is, the importance of content marketing to your brand, your goals, why you should even, give it a try, why you should put your focus on it. Is it worth it? And we've also done a brief exercise on creating content, for a fictional company. And even though some of us were not able to complete stock at the time, but at least the thought process, we did that, right? And we've begun to think about, oh, how do I sell this product? What content? And that in itself is a process of creating content. So well done to everybody. So moving on to the key tools and metrics. We've talked about, the overview of content marketing, creating distribution. How do we measure? How do we know if what we're doing is working? And what are the tools that we can use? Remember, content marketing for tech, right? So of course there are tools, and a lot of our work is online, digital. So we have RFs. RFs, and on the right here we have, what's the different the different use cases for RFs is. RFs is a content marketing tool that you can use for various reasons, for various purposes. You can use RFs to find out what your potential customers are typing into Google with RFs Keywords Explorer. So a great component, a huge part of content marketing, the blog post format, are keywords, because when people are searching online, they input different keywords into their searches, right? So I said I was looking for where to buy soups, and I put catering Abuja or soup Abuja. That's a keyword. And you as a content writer, if you wrote a blog post and you put your keyword, you put a keyword Abuja food, there's a possibility that your blog post will pop up when I search for catering Abuja. Even better, when you already put your keyword as catering, home catering in Abuja, right? That would even boost you better. So now I mentioned that your content has to be tailored to your customers' interest. But how do you know? You're not a magician. How do you know what people want to hear, what they are looking for, the problems that they are facing? There is research. And that comes across in different ways. You can research by talking to people. You can research by sending out a survey. You can research by using this tool, RFs. The Keywords Explorer bit of it. It helps you know what people are typing into Google. This is a research tool that helps you to find new keyword ideas for content. So when you have that information that, okay, I'm in the food industry And in my food industry, people are searching a lot for DIY tomato paste. You know, maybe to buy tomato paste in the market now is so high, right? And people are looking for DIY tomato, how to make tomato paste at home. And you're a food brand, right? Your niche is food. So, but you didn't know this, but with the RF's Keywords Explorer, you have an idea of what people are looking for, so that you can then say, you know what, let me tailor my content to this. It's like an expo. It's like an expo. It helps. Oh, this is what people are looking for. Oh, yeah. Create content tied to that exactly. So when people are looking for it, your content ranks on the Google search page, search engine results page, SERPs. You can also use RFs to analyze your competitors' content and traffic with RF's Site Explorer. So Site Explorer now takes it a notch further to say, okay, oh, I'm a food company, but I have competitors. What are they putting out? What's their own content like? What's their traffic to their content like? Is their content, the kind of content they're doing, is it working for them? If it's working for them, okay, do we want to do exactly what they're doing, or do we want to take a different approach? Now, the essence of you doing, I mentioned competitor analysis, right? Your competitor analysis doesn't just focus on, okay, what your competitor is doing. You figure out what they're doing, and it's your job to find loopholes in what they're doing that you can plug. RF Site Explorer helps you do that, competitor analysis. So help you say, okay, all your competitors across 3 brands, this is what they're doing, this is what's working best for them, this is not working best for them, this is where you can plug in. It helps you do that. Solves half of your problem. Then you have RF's Content Explorer. Now, this one helps you figure out what content, which of the content you've put out is doing the best. The whole essence of tools and metrics, measurement, is so that you know what is working and you can double down on that. Growth is all about experiments. Digital marketers, they experiment with their ads, with different copies and different types of graphics. Digital marketers can say, you know what, let's experiment with video or GIF, or let's just do static. Right? With RF's Content Explorer, it helps you know, okay, this content of mine, this blog post, which one is doing best? If this one is the one that is doing best, maybe the one where I talked about DIY is doing best. So maybe I need to create more DIY content. And if I know that this post is doing best, then maybe within that post, I want to put a form for people to join a community. Or I want to put a banner for my discounts on that blog post. So when people click on it, you've hyperlinked it, by the way, don't forget, call to action. So when people click on it, it takes them to where they make payments. But you can't make those decisions if you don't know what is working. The RF's Content Explorer helps you figure that out. Okay, this content is working. A lot of people are seeing it. It's getting a lot of views. The reading time, you know, average reading time is XYZ. So that means people are spending a lot of time on that particular page. So if you know this information, that's data. If you have that data, then you know that, okay, my goal right now is to drive sales and I'm running a discount campaign. So because people are coming to this particular post a lot, let me plug my campaign in that post. This is what RFs helps you figure out. Content Explorer, Site Explorer, Keywords Explorer. The next, we have Google Search Console and Google Analytics. Google Search Console is a free tool offered by Google to help webmasters learn about their website's performance in Google. It also helps to learn which search terms people are using to find each of your web pages. So Google, I really love Google Search Console. I use it personally, right? In partnership with my digital marketer. I use it because it helps me know which keyword is bringing people to my blog. So I will see an analysis and say, okay, oh, these are the blog posts doing the best. This is what brought people to that blog post. So maybe I already imputed 5 different keywords. I can now tell which of those keywords are doing best. Which of the keywords is bringing people more to my page, to my web page. My entire website, Google Search Console can also help me know how my website is performing. Which of the page is doing the best? Is it a post? Is it a landing page that is doing the best? That I know that, okay, I want to put something on my landing page for people to see. Google Analytics, it's a free tool that gives you a range of data about the activity happening on your website, where users are coming from, how many visitors you have, and information about them. So Google Analytics shows you everything. It's like an X-ray to tell you, okay, where your users are coming from. You run an ad, you've integrated Google Analytics. You run an ad and people have clicked, people have seen it to tell you, okay, your impressions, this is where your impressions came from. It came from Katsina State, maybe 30% came from Katsina State and 20% from Osun State. That way, you know that, oh, okay, people in Katsina are the ones clicking on my ad the most. So that means right now, this data is telling me that I need to tailor my content towards people in Katsina. So you as a content marketer, you can now start to think, if people in Katsina are relating, interacting more with my content, does that mean that I want to create an ad in Hausa or whatever language is being spoken in Katsina, so that it's more relevant to them, more contextual to them, right? It's to tell you how many visitors you have and the information. It's breaks, so you can use this information to build your buyer persona, a more informed buyer persona. Please don't forget that as a content marketer, you're a growth person. Your goal is for growth, right? And you have to experiment, gather data. So when you have information, demographic, their geography, the device type they use, that's how some products, they can tell you. If some product marketers will tell you that, oh, I have more iOS users than Android users. That's because Google Analytics tells them, or whatever other tool they use. Or you can say, okay, I have more Android users than iOS users. So what does that tell you? Right? Then we have WordPress. WordPress is particularly, it's a content management system that is particularly great for blog posts, for publishing blogs, right? So you use WordPress, you can either write directly on WordPress or write on Google Docs and transfer to WordPress. What I do personally, I first write on Google Docs, then transfer to WordPress, and then optimize for search engine. I do my SEO on WordPress. So it helps you, it's a content manager, it helps you, it edits, there's a text editor, you can edit your text there. It helps you do your H1, H2 hierarchy, meta description, you can put plugins. WordPress also helps you to integrate plugins that can help you do all these little things. So for example, I use brand name. The brand name is Course Shadow, right? But they have like a headline plugin. What that does is it helps you analyze your blog post headline. So when you put in your blog post title, it can tell you that, oh, your title is too weak, or your title, there's no keyword in your title that can drive conversion or clicks, so to help you analyze what you should add, remove from your title so that it's grabbing. So WordPress allows you to integrate plugins. I use another plugin called Rank Math. Rank Math helps you do your SEO. So once you transfer your content from Google Docs, like I do, or you just write directly, on the side on your screen, you can see how it will help you analyze your post. You can say, okay, you're not using enough outgoing links, or you don't have enough internal links. Internal links are links connecting your blog post to another blog post you've written. right? So WordPress helps you, makes it easier for you to integrate plugins to optimize your marketing process. And it is best used for publishing content, creating websites, and Yoast SEO. Yoast SEO is a plugin that you can use for SEO. So I mentioned Rank Math. I used to use Yoast, then I moved to Rank Math, right? So it will help you analyze it. If your keyword, the number of keywords you have in your post is not enough, to tell you that, oh, we could only find two instances of your keyword in this post. It's too low. Increase it. Oh, your meta description, you've not put your meta description. Your meta description is what comes up when you search on Google. That little description summary that you read that makes you click on the post, that's your meta description. Your URL, the link, it can tell you that your URL is too long and it will not help with your SEO. So this Yoast is equally great. There's also Rank Math, and you can check online for more, right? Excuse me. Yes. So I just said to curate, just a few of the content marketing tools out there. There's so many. There's some that are free, there's some that are paid, and there's some that are both free and paid, depending on maybe the volume of stuff that you're processing with the tools. Then let's move on to metrics. As I said, how do you know if what you're doing is working? And that is by your metrics. Now, I have gone ahead to separate the metrics into three. So metrics under user behavior, metrics under SEO, metrics under conversion. Now, metrics under user behavior, this is basically about your users. What are they doing in relation to your product, in relation to your blog post, in relation to your website, in relation to your app? Page views, we have page views. So you want to know, okay, how many times are people viewing this post? How many times? What number of views? On Instagram, it's easy to see, oh, the video was viewed XYZ number of times. Same applies to your blog post. Then you have sessions. Sessions refer to the unique number of times your page was viewed. So now for page views, maybe Ore alone as a user has viewed your blog post about DIY tomato paste 75 times. And then maybe Adiola has viewed 100 times. It will match everything together, 100 plus 75, that's 175. But sessions refers to the unique number of times. So Ore, 1 session. Adiola, 1 session. A single visit. So with a single visit, I can come to your website once and reload a particular page on your website multiple times. But sessions will only count that unique visit as a session. So you can know, okay, I know how many page views I have, but the sessions, how do I know what's the ratio to that? Is it 1 person that is giving me all these page views, or 5 people are giving me these page views? And if you know that it's 1 person giving me this page views, for me, as a growth person, I'll be very interested to know, okay, why is this 1 person giving me all these page views? Where is this person coming from? Enter Google Analytics to help you know all of these details. So you can see how your metrics and your tools intertwine. Website sessions by source. It gives you an idea of the channel that is performing the best. So you've recorded views, you've recorded sessions. Where are they coming from? Are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from organic search? That's people going on Google and searching on their own and finding your content and clicking. So if you know what channel is performing best, you can double down. You can say, no, let's spend more time or more money on Instagram. If Facebook is giving you 0, you can say, no, let's shut down our Facebook page and focus on only Twitter and Instagram. Metrics, data, visibility tells you what you need to know so that you can make informed decisions. So you know what is working and what you need to do to keep it working. Bounce rates is defined as the percentage of visitors that navigate away from a site after viewing only one page. So Ore has come to your blog post. Did Ore stay on your blog post for a while? Or maybe after she read one paragraph, she left? The average industry bounce rate for, I think, a blog is about 60, is it 60? Yes, 60%. If you're recording a bounce rate lower than 60%, then there's a problem. That means your content is not sticky. That means your content is not what people need. That means you're just writing. You're not helping anybody. Or maybe your content is actually valuable, but your tone or language is putting people off. Or maybe your content is actually valuable, your tone is great, your language is great, but your introducing paragraph is not catchy enough. So people are leaving. Or maybe when you put your meta description and what's not, your title, when they searched for you on Google and you came up, you seemed enticing enough. And when they opened your blog post, maybe the expectation, what they had was not what they met. They will leave. And all of this sends a message to Google that your content is not helpful. So Google will stop suggesting.
All right, everybody, calm down. America's here. All right, first things first. Got a couple of great jokes about French people. That right there.
Right. So that's for bounce rates. Then users in Google Analytics refers to the total number of unique visitors.
No, just English, we say.
Adiola, please, can you help me mute Rosemary? All right. Then we have percentage of new sessions. This is another useful metric that tells you the number of first-time visitors versus old visitors. So you've recorded page views, you have sessions, but you want to know your views and your sessions, are they from new people or old people? If they're from both, what's the percentage? So you know if you're retaining new customers, or you're just simply attracting new people, which, depending on how you look at it, both could be great for your brand. If you're attracting new people, if your page or your post is only seen by new people, that means, okay, you're getting in the faces of more people, right? But it also means that there's a problem. The people who already came to you, why are they not coming back? Could your bounce rates tell you, could it give you insights that could help you figure that out? If your bounce rate is very high, if you have a bounce rate of 90% and you have a high number of new visitors as opposed to old visitors, then you know that the people who, every time people check your content, they don't want to come back because you're like, yeah, it's not helpful for us. So it also helps you figure that out. Pages by session is defined as the average number of pages viewed during a single session. So Ore now, she has one session, but she viewed 100 pages. Adiola had one session, but she only viewed one page. Right? So these are metrics that can tell you how your users are behaving. It's psychology. Everything is intertwined. When you know what to do. Insight is very important. Then we have SEO. So when you write your blog post, and I'm going to also link this to digital ads, right? You've written your ads, you've set up your ads, you've written your post, you've published your post. But then how do you measure the success of these things that you have done? Then we have impressions. Impressions refers to the number of times people see your stuff. How many people have seen it? Do you have 1,000 impressions? And you have a higher number of impressions as opposed to clicks. It always reduces from impressions to clicks to visits and then conversions. Maybe 1,000 people saw your post, but only 10% clicked. And then out of the people that clicked, maybe only 50 of the 100 actually landed on your website. And out of the 50, maybe only 5 went ahead to pay. So different metrics, impressions, how many people saw your stuff? How many people saw the ads you ran on YouTube? And then we have CTR. CTR refers to click-through rates. Click-through rates, impressions versus clicks. There are formulas for this. And I think it's very important that you register for the bootcamp so that we can delve deeper into all of this. You can get the formulas. How do you calculate your click-through rate? How do you calculate your clicks? How do you calculate your conversion rates? All of that. So if you figure out that you have a high click-through rate, then you know that, okay, people are clicking. When they see it, they are clicking. But you record a lower conversion rate, then that tells you that there's a problem between people clicking and people converting and paying. Is it that there are too many steps for them to take before they pay? Maybe that's the problem. Then maybe you need to reduce the steps. You need all these metrics so that you know what to do, so that you are strategic. I'm going to keep going back to that definition because everything ties together. Okay, then we have average position. So for Google search, when you search for how to XYZ, you scroll your phones, right? And you can see different entries all the way to the bottom. How many of you here click second page on Google? How many of you check other pages on Google? Like you move from that first page to the second page or the third page or maybe the 10th page. So this refers to average position on the Google search page. Is your blog post number one? So when people search for how to make ewa going, your post, is it the first thing that comes up on Google search? Does it, first and foremost, does your post even appear on the first page? Does your post appear on the first page? Let's even start from that. If it does appear on the first page, what is the position? Is it the 10th? Is it the 3rd? Is it the 1st? Which post is ranking? That's that, we also use that keyword, ranking. Is it ranking number 1? Is it ranking for 10th? What's the average position? So if a post is doing really well by being ranked on the first page, then you know that, okay, this kind of post, I should double down on this. Let me create more of this kind of posts. Or maybe the kind of keywords you use in the post is what you will use for your next post. And there are different kinds of keywords. There are long tail keywords, short tail keywords. Again, all of this will be delved into details at the bootcamp. Backlinks. Now, backlinks helps you build authority. So you on your own as a brand, you are making posts about how to, food brand, how to do ewa going, how to do DIY tomato paste, blah, 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 blah. Now, if another brand that also maybe is into food, but not exactly food. Maybe they do juice or something. Perfect. I have a great example. So for example, we've talked about bottle.ng, and we've established that bottle.ng, they do different kinds of bottles, glasses, and all of that. And you as a brand, the other brand, you do food, including of juices, right? Now, you've made your post about how to make a berry juice from scratch, right? Now, bottle.ng, a writer from bottle.ng can now say, okay, I want to make a post about juices and the kinds of glasses that we make that you can put juice into. So, you know, the pictures we have mostly had to do with alcohol. So, but let's say they say, you know what, let's write about these new products, this new type of glass that we're making, but for juice. And in that post, they not only talk about, you know, how their glasses can be used for different types of juices, they now also talk about maybe berries juice. And they now put a link to that blog post that you wrote about making juice from berries from scratch. That's backlinking. And the more backlinking you have, the more other brands, other posts refer to your own post, the more Google sees your post as an authority, and the more it will recommend people, it will recommend your post to people. So if other brands backlink a lot to your website, to your different posts, to your pages and all of that, you know, they're telling Google that this brand thought leadership. So Google now knows, based on their algorithm, that, you know what, let me recommend more of what this brand is putting out to people. So backlinking helps you, right? Then moving on to, okay, so Anita said she doesn't, it's first to third page at most, right? Then moving on to conversion. This part is particularly very important to startups and products because it's all about the money. Conversion, goal completions. This is conversion. Are people converting? Are they paying? Are they signing up? Are they downloading? So your impressions, great. Your clicks, your click-through rate is great, but your conversion rate is low. What could be the problem? Why are they not converting? Is that your content wasn't punchy enough? Right? And then your conversion rates, you can calculate that. Again, the formulas, everything will be delved into at the bootcamp. So, you know, okay, you have 100 conversions, but what's your conversion rate? Is it high? Is it low? How would you represent that? Then we have goal value. Goal value is a monetary value associated with completing a specific goal. Assigning a goal value is optional in Google Analytics, as not all goals have a clear monetary value. Now, this is particularly for digital marketers in collaboration with content marketers, because your work is quite intertwined, and product marketers as well, right? You can decide to assign a goal value to a page. And your goal value has to do with your page value. So page value has to do with the average value of a page that a user visited before they landed on your conversion page. So basically, in layman terms, which page on your website, what post on your website or your blog or Instagram or whatever, but this is particularly for Google Analytics, right? So that's more to web. What page, what content is driving more revenue for you? What page is driving more conversions for you? Is it your landing page? Or maybe it's your about page, about us page? if your About Us page has more page value, then it's interesting that you need to look at it. Okay, what did we put on our About Us page? Is it that, or because we put the faces of the people behind the product? Is that what's making our conversion rate high? Or did we put a video that says a day in the life of our CEO? And that is a lot of, that's very humane. So people are like, oh, our CEO, I like their CEO, you know. So page value, that also helps you tell, okay, what page is giving you more conversion? So you can double down on that.